it's all about the numbers. So first, if they don't have any idea what industry they'd like to buy a franchise in, it would be great if they can use one of the franchise portals or directories where all the available opportunities are listed, so that they can just have an idea of whether they'd like to go into hospitality or another sector. But it's all about the numbers, as I said. First, you can select the franchise by investment type, meaning how much money you'd like to spend to buy. And that in its own way can be very limiting, because you can buy a franchise from as little as 2 or 3 or 5,000, and others where you need to put 250,000 or $500,000 when we're talking Subway or McDonald's or big franchise brands. So that it depends on that, but also the questions that they should be asking themselves and the potential franchisor would be, how quickly am I going to break even? So that would be one of the very first questions. So depending on the investments, usually the lower the investment, the faster you will break even. As a general rule, if it's not a huge investment type, you can say you can expect breaking even between the second and the fifth year of franchising, but that's a very big generalization. It depends on the franchise. They would also need to know the running costs of a franchise. It's not just the initial investment and the money that you need to put in, but also how much you need to actually run it until you break even, until you start generating some profits. Another thing is to be very careful about the royalty fees and how the royalties are structured. So that's a very big question. There are franchisors that actually charge a percentage of the revenue. There are franchisors that charge a flat rate, which it has pros and cons, both options, depending on the type of business and the expected revenue. Again, it's amazing if you can negotiate a small percentage of royalties when you're starting, but when you're actually building traction and you're getting very successful, that percentage is going to grow. Equally, when you're starting and you have a flat fee, it's not great, because even if you're not making money or if you're not great at sales, you still need to pay that flat fee of royalties. Right. But later on, it might be better for you. There are mixed models as well in royalties, where you've got a percentage, but up to once you reach to a certain threshold and you're very successful with your franchise, it becomes a lower percentage or a flat fee. So generally, these models work best for franchisor and franchisee. But there's a lot more questions about training and support, ongoing support, and just asking to speak to an existing franchisee might be a really great idea. Someone that is successful in that franchise, that is an ambassador of the brand, they can just give you their candid opinion about how successful and how happy they are about making that decision. So the franchisors do these so-called open days, where you actually visit the store location or the restaurant location or whatever the business location is, or you can go on the road with the teams and you can actually feel exactly what it is to run such a type of business, especially when you don't have experience in that sector.